Hi, I am Terry White. I'm here with you today doing a family transparent talk with one of my children. And I am the author of Breaking the Silence and From a Mother to a Warrior.
So, Terry, how did you feel about Gary being rebellious? Did you feel like it was due to your son being away, or was it due to him just being an average rebellious teen?
So a lot of it we seen as, that you were just really being a rebellious teen. You were acting like a typical teenager.
Okay.
How did you feel? Did you feel like you were in your teens?
I personally did not feel I was rebellious. I felt like I was just trying to get a little bit more freedom than what I had already had.
Okay.
At the moment. So that caused me to do, I think, a lot of things that you or a typical parent would find as rebellious, but I was just trying something new at the moment.
Okay.
Gary, what is your greatest joy about Terry being your mom?
The greatest joy was the fact that, this is weird because when I was younger, I would go to my dad first. As a teenager, I started to appreciate my mother and all that she's done, like going to the schools, making sure I graduated on time. Those are things that my dad just didn't do. And like the fact that she was there, doing it, persistent, staying on top of me, I appreciate her so much for that.
And Terry, what is your greatest joy about Gary being your son?
I have so many great joys. One of them that I think I talk about a lot is that just starting out through my whole pregnancy, he was the one child where things were very normal. Whereas in my first pregnancy, I had a lot of issues with the pregnancy. And then when, your oldest brother was born, there were problems there that wasn't normal. So you were pretty much my baby that I was able to experience a lot of things that I should have experienced the first time I got pregnant and had a baby. But I also just enjoyed watching you as a toddler, and we talk about it all the time, how you used to love to wear suits. And just used to love to preach all the time before you could really even talk that well. You just really admired watching and being in church services. And then just watching you grow up and being having your own personality and, being your own person.
And do you feel like that has carried on throughout the rest of his life, being able to experience normal things with him and stuff like that?
No, actually not. He is so different than what we've seen him as when he was a teenager. He ended up going to the military, and I think for a lot of parents, us included, that we were looking for that, that child that goes off to college and kind of looking for that experience in life. And then after, you graduate, you get married, and, and then those typical things that we see as tradition in our society. And yours was completely different. And so those were all differences, but they were nonetheless still enjoyable moments.
So Gary, do you feel like you had somewhat of a normal, life, I guess, all the way through from start to finish?
That's actually a good question. No, I don't think my life was normal, actually. It was really weird having to do a lot of things. Like the second something went wrong in our family, I feel like my life went back a year, or ahead of a year. If that makes sense. So it's like I feel like I'll never get that year back. Honestly, at that moment, if my life never moved forward the way it did, I think I would never join the military. I just think things played out the way it was supposed to.
Being the middle child, did you feel like your mother treated you differently than the rest of your siblings?
No. I think it was fair to say that one of us didn't have it. None of us didn't have it until my little sister came along. That's when it got different.
And how did you feel about that?
It wasn't any hatred towards it or anything like that. It was just a matter of me feeling, oh, well, if I can't get it, then let me get it on my own. So that's where probably the rebellious came into play.
Okay, so what is your biggest hurdle having Gary as your son?
The biggest hurdle? I really can't think of a hurdle for him as a son. Again, I think the biggest aha moment though for Gary as my son is he gained independence a lot earlier than the other two kids. And so what I mean by that is, like, you went to the military at 18. And so at 18, that's, you were kind of like no longer ours. Like, we didn't have say so over a lot of things in your life. And so that, I think, probably was hard on me. I don't know about your dad, but it was definitely hard on me because, like, I couldn't tell you, don't drive don't get on the interstate and drive home. Like, you had that authority to do so because you had your own car. I couldn't tell you what to spend your money on because you worked your own job, you didn't live at home. So I think that might have been the hardest thing for me, is that at such an early age, we'd been hands-on, and all of a sudden it's like, man, like we can't really tell you a lot of stuff about life too much anymore.
Like, how did you like your independence, Gary?
I loved it. It definitely got harder. There were several times where I found myself calling my mom, trying to, and then just thinking to myself, I can't always do this. And I would just have to figure it out. There were some times I had to bite the bullet, put my pride to the side, and just call them. Very humbling experience being on your own.
But did we make that hard for you?
It didn't make it hard. It was more so me making it hard on myself. I wanted to show them for once, like, I already graduated, bye. But then I believe a month or two, I ended up calling them right back anyway.
So then, Gary, what is your biggest hurdle having Terri as your mom?
Hardest thing was her transparency at a young age. The way she is now, I didn't have that when I was growing up. So it's hard for me to talk to her or my dad, and for them to tell me like a good answer. It would always, I felt like, was the Bible answer. And that caused me to lead to other friends who would tell me things that I would want to hear, even if it wasn't good.
So I just want to be clear. So that you saying that you didn't feel like we were transparent enough.
Yes,
when you were younger.
Yes.
And so now you see all of this transparency we have, and it's like you wish we had it when you were younger.
Yeah,
so for both of you, is there anything that you maybe wish you would have changed, or do you like how your life has played out thus far? Terri, you being a mom, and Gary, you being her son?
There's a couple things I would have changed, I think. Not taking moments for granted. Or, I wish I just would have stayed in the moment when I was in it. And now, me being gone all the time, that's time I can't get back, So I just wish I would have slowed down a little bit and let life play this course instead of just trying to get out so fast.
And I think for me, there are things I probably would have changed. Seems like I've always been in school when you guys were growing up. When you were a toddler or barely a toddler, I was in school then, so I missed out on a lot. And then when we moved to Georgia, well, even after you were a toddler and you were in like element or preschool, I was in school getting my undergrad. Then when we moved to Georgia, the years here, I was getting my master's, and you guys were in middle school and high school.
Yeah.
So I felt like I was in school a lot throughout you all growing up. And so there were times when I really wish I could have been there more in an emotional way for you guys. Not saying that I wasn't, but just there more present, and not rushing, trying to get papers done, or rushing, trying to get back home to read a book or something to that nature. The other thing that I really wish I could change is just our family dynamics and a lot of things that we went through as a family. You know, of course, I think for any family, they want to make sure that they're providing their kids with the best. And so there was a time in there when we really just financially couldn't give you guys a lot that you were accustomed to. And so that one part of my life, of course, it had made me to become more transparent, and it helped our family to prepare for things in the future, but it was still difficult going through that process.